Part 123. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1221. Father Lu was leaving with Zhao Xiaoyun, and there was not much time left. Feng Qingxiu was busy packing things for their grandfather and grandson. Zibao's clothes, shoes, socks, toys, and other items must be brought to him, and some supplies must be prepared for Lu's father to take back. The ones that are visible must be bought directly from the military service agency, and the ones that are in the space must be hidden in the luggage bag. My 9 links, Zibao hugged his favorite toy and put it in the package. After going through the 9-link chain, Feng Qingxiu discovered that Zibao was really smart. She couldn't even solve the 9-link chain on her own. But Zibao often solved all the 9-link chain in 3 attempts, which made Fubao cry many times because Fubao was angry. Can't be solved. One time Fubao was so angry that she almost grabbed her and threw the 9 rings. From then on, 11 Bao stopped letting her play with her. Worried that Fubao would want to play and fall because he couldn't play, 11 Bao hid the 9 rings. Feng Qingxiu hadn't seen it for a long time, but she didn't expect that she actually remembered to take it out and take it home today. Zhao Xiaoyun was very happy to learn that Lu's father and grandson were on the same road as him. Father Lu liked Zhao Xiaoyun very much. When he got off the car at Huihei City and walked to the door of the train station, he invited him to his home. There will be a train to the southeast in 3 days. Are you staying in a guest house these 3 days? You are alone. Zibao and I are very worried. Let's go to our house to play. Tianzi and the others are at home. It must be very exciting to see you. Happy. Zibao nodded. Don't worry, he patted Zhao Xiaoyun's waist matter-of-factly. He originally wanted to pat Zhao Xiaoyun on the shoulder, but his plan was aborted because of the height difference. Zhao Xiaoyun was quite moved. Okay, thank you Grandpa Lu. Just go, it doesn't matter if you play for a few more days. Anyway, he didn't tell his grandparents when he would go back. The 3 men happily boarded the mule cart that came to pick them up in Guancheng. Why did you borrow the mule cart? The family is not busy anymore. No matter how busy I am, I still have to come to pick you up. And Zibao, Guancheng said hello to Zhao Xiaoyun and looked at Zibao, who had not seen him for 2 months, with a smile. As soon as I heard that Zibao was coming, yes, the 3rd grandpa and my eldest uncle, grandpa, aunt, and grandma were more excited than our 3 brothers and urged me to drive into the city early in the morning. By the way, my eldest cousin caught a few fish from the river a few nights ago, and one of them was a blackfish. It was intercepted and will be stewed today, saying that it will be used by Zibao to catch the wind and wash away the dust. There are so many rumors outside. Our brigade is not a paradise. Da Chun is brave enough to take risks. Are you not afraid of being reported? He said that Wang Da Chun took advantage of his position to embezzle collective property. Not to mention the fish in the river, even if it is water, it is collective property. Guancheng smiled and said, so we secretly set down the net at night and collect it before dawn. Although our brigade is not a paradise, but because we work together, it is almost a paradise. If you are not here this month, our brigade has 4 more people. Individuals who come one after another are assigned to the cowshed. They feed the horses and cows and clean the cowshed every day. You will have company from now on. Ah! What's your identity? Father Lu was surprised. I remember that the house we built was not small. It could accommodate 10 more people, not to mention 4 more people. How come they were arranged in the cowshed? Although there is no belongings in the cowshed, the food is all in the cellar. After Lu's father and Feng Qingxiu left home, Lu's father would open the cellar once every 10 days and a half to bring out some grain to supplement the lives of the elderly. He told them that the old grain he had stored in his early years was well sealed and could still be eaten. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1222. Guancheng didn't answer Father Lu's question until he left the city, and there were only 4 of them, a mule and a cart, on the road. Then he lowered his voice and said, "What was said above is what the people who escorted them here told my uncle and grandfather to do. They lived in the dirtiest place, worked the hardest work, and were not allowed to eat well. In front of them, their uncle and grandpa arranged for the 4 of them to live in the cowshed where the old people had lived before. The other party felt very sad. Not satisfied, he pointed directly at the cattle pen and asked them to build a floor inside. Zhao Ziaoun hugged his shoulders and shuddered involuntarily. "What are you afraid of? I don't believe you have never seen such a scene." Guancheng glanced at him. Zhao Ziaoun put away his playful smile and said softly, "I have seen more cruel scenes, so I shuddered when I heard you say that. My grandfather said that war is not terrible, but that people cannibalize people. Our family has known we are brave, clinging to life, working hard to save our lives, not daring to say a word for fear of becoming a reason for others to attack us." His grandfather and parents had both told him that the Lu family could be completely trusted. After spending so many days with Father Lu, he knew that he was a wise man, otherwise he would not have survived in such a difficult environment. After hearing Zhao Ziaoun's words, Father Lu and Guancheng looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Indeed, as Zhao Hanzi said, they all have no backbone. If they had the backbone and suffered this injustice, they would have screamed and died to protest the injustice. As for whether they can leave a mark in the historical materials, it will be for future generations. Something happened. 2 of these 4 people came to us with bruises all over their bodies. It was hot and flies were buzzing around them. The people who escorted them here asked them to sleep with cows, which was a great insult." Guancheng's eyes with a trace of sympathy in his voice, he continued, "Uncle and grandpa are kind-hearted. After a few days, when the staff escorting them left, I kept the floor of the cattle pen and arranged for them to live in the house. I quickly boiled water for them to bathe and treat them. The injuries left one with a lifelong disability." Father Lu asked where it was disabled, and Guancheng replied, "Arm, right arm, the bones are broken in 3 parts, and they are all pierced through the skin and flesh. It is bloody. It has been delayed for too long. This arm is almost useless and cannot be used anymore. Hold the gun." "Gun?" From the military, Father Lu was very keen. Guancheng nodded. With calluses on one hand and bullet holes all over his body, you can tell at a glance that he walked out of a hail of bullets. He is very old, over 60. His physical condition is very poor, and he also has severe asthma. Father Lu soon met the 4 people Guancheng mentioned. No, it should be 5 people. One of the old men brought a young grandson, who looked about 6 or 7 years old, with eyes like a frightened deer. "My name is Zibao, brother, what's your name?" Zibao greeted the other party enthusiastically, not forgetting to take out a toffee that was about to melt from his pocket. "Brother, here is a candy for you." The old man who was leaning against the child said, "Hai Lan, you said thank you to my brother. Your life was given by my brother's parents." Suddenly hearing this sentence, several old people in the room were stunned. Currently, there are only Lu's father, Wang Zhenkuo, and the new arrivals 4, 1 and 5 in the bullpen. Zhao Ziaoun had already been dragged to the Lu's house by Guancheng, and he was not allowed to come here. He only said to him, "You have just arrived, so it is not appropriate to go to the cowshed. Grandpa Lu has lived in the cowshed for more than 10 years, so he does not live here." Zhao Ziaoun thought it right and went with Guancheng to meet Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu, who lived in the Lu family. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1223. Father Lu looked at the old man who spoke in surprise. may I ask your name? My surname is Ding Qiaobang. The old man pointed to his grandson who played with Zibao after taking the toffee. My grandson Halen got meningitis last year. He took Comrade Kingxiu's medicine to save his life. Something happened to our family, and everyone was afraid that we would be removed from the family. His parents were sent to the northwest, where conditions were difficult, so I took this child with me. Father Lu thought carefully for a long time, Angong Niu Huang pills. When talking about Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu's marriage, Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu mentioned this incident casually, and saved several children, which was regarded as a good relationship. One of the children was named Ding Halen. How do you? Seeing Ding Qiaobang nod, Father Lu wanted to ask him how he had fallen to this point. After all, he had lived in the compound before. Then he thought about how there is any truth in this world. So, he changed the subject and said, "Why do you remember it so tightly? Children should save people. Now that we are here, we can live in peace. Although we have too much time to take care of ourselves, at least we have the words of the old leader to support us. As long as we don't do anything too outrageous, people won't criticize us." There was a hint of gratitude in Ding Haifeng's eyes. Thank you, thank you. Captain Wang arranged for us to live in a house instead of living in a cattle pen after those people left, and also arranged food and accommodation for us. I knew our lives were saved. Yeah. I think so too. I really met a good person. Although we ended up here because of evil people, we escaped from the humiliation because we met good people. The fate of life is indeed unpredictable. It is indeed unpredictable. There are 3 people left, 2 from Shanghai and 1 from the southeast coast. One of the 2 people from Shanghai was named Xia Shuhui, the other was named Chen Anlin, and the one from the southeast was named Zhou Fengchu. Guancheng said that he was the one with a broken arm, and he was the most seriously injured among the 4. Wang Zhenqiu said sternly, "In our Wanglu brigade, I think I can speak my mind. You don't have to worry about your fate. Most of the folks in our brigade are very kind. Even if there are 1 or 2 with evil intentions, they can't cause any trouble. After all, every household has parents and brothers living close to each other. If anything happens, the whole family will be embarrassed. However, on the surface, I still have to yell at you, and you have to do whatever work you are asked to do. You have just arrived, and the situation is tight, so you have to be a bit harsh." Ding Haifeng said hurriedly, it should be. We old guys have endured so much suffering, let alone a few words of criticism. We are bad on the surface but good in private. We are really lucky." When the other 3 people agreed, Wang Zhenqiu said strangely, "You all know each other." "We all know each other. We all came out of the hail of bullets." "How many of us don't know each other?" The person who answered Wang Zhenqiu's question was Ding Haifeng. But after the founding of the People's Republic of China, except for the general meeting in the capital, we rarely met each other. How could we know that in our later years? We have to live together in the cattle pen. If you let me sleep in the cattle pen, I will sleep in the cattle pen. What hardships did I not suffer during the war? Xia Shuhui was more polite and smiled, "That's because you were a cowherd boy back then. When you saw the army passing by your village, you followed the army to death, and for several years you were responsible for tending horses and herding cattle." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1224. Talking about the past, the 4 of them laughed together, quite a bit enjoying themselves. Children never understand the sorrows of adults. Zibao took Ding Halen and squatted beside him to play. Soon Ding Halen opened his heart to him. Hearing that he was from the capital and lived in the compound before, Zibao asked, "Huahua, my brother, do you recognize him?" "Huahua," Ding Halen thought for a while, "I have a lot of flowers at home, not my younger brother." Zibao pointed to his nose. My brother, Huahua, is not the flower on the tree. Huahua's name is Wang Zonghua. Father Lu interrupted in between words. Helan, do you recognize Wang Zonghua? Ding Helan immediately said, it's the elder brother, not the younger brother. He compared the heights of Zibao and himself. Brother Zonghua is much, much taller. I have to eat a lot to catch up with him. Brother Zibao, I have finished my candy, do you still have it? I still want to eat. Mom and Dad, no one is here, and no one buys me candy. At this point, the little guy burst into tears and kept calling his parents. Here you go, here you go. Zibao quickly took out all the candies in his pocket, 3 in total, and stuffed them into Ding Helan's hand. Don't cry anymore, Toffee, it's sweet. Eating candies makes you miss your parents. After Ding Helan ate the candy, he stopped crying. Ding Qiaobang let out a low sigh. It was the new student who took a huge risk and made some connections to get Helan and I here, saying that this is his hometown and the hometown of Comrade Lu Zhang and Comrade King Xiu. The folk customs are simple. If he goes to other places, he won't worry because he won't get any information and doesn't know the character of the local people. When I became powerful, I casually helped He Hung Jun with a small favor. This kid Renai, he has kept it in mind for several years and brought me here. He said that he met a good person here back then and contacted me later. The relationship has been maintained well. His aunt is here, and his aunt's senior brother Wang Mo. Everyone can help each other in front of Father Lu. Chen Onlin opened his heart and told the reason why he was sent here. I'm here again. Please ask him to get Xia Shuhui out. When Wang Zhenqiu heard this, he understood immediately. Yes, they all benefited from Feng Qingxiu or had a good relationship with the Lu family. He felt that he could be trusted, so he came here in a swarm. Fortunately, he thought that the Wanglu Brigade was full of outstanding people, and big figures from all walks of life came here to take root. The good people He Hung Jun met are Comrade Lu Ziwen and his daughter-in-law, Comrade Feng Qingxiu, who is also my niece. Wang Zhenqiu said to Chen Onlin and Xia Shuhui, I just said, why are the good ones running to our Wanglu Brigade? 1 or 2 are somewhat related to my niece, and Mr. Wang has a very good relationship with my niece's family. Ding Qiaobang, Xia Shuhui and Chen Onlin were stunned for a moment, looked at each other, and sighed at the same time. What a good person. If he wasn't a good person, if he wasn't trustworthy, how could the current results have happened? Old Joe, where are you? How did you get here? Ding Qiaobang asked Zhou Fengxu. Zhou Fengxu took a few breaths and was about to answer when she suddenly heard Xiaodozi shouting outside, Grandpa, Grandpa, Grandma asked you to go home for dinner. Where is brother Zibao who Grandma asked you to find? Why doesn't he come back after he goes out? Come. Brother Zibao, I'm here. As Xiaodozi said this, he rushed in shouting and rushed towards Zibao, his little face lit up with joy. Everyone's conversation naturally ended here. I will update 100,000 first, and then 50,000 at noon. Please give me your votes. The Wanglu Brigade will distribute it in the future. If anyone who is rehabilitated comes back and invests, they will become rich. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1225. When passing by the Lu family, Wang Zhenqiu called out the Guancheng brothers again. Father Lu picked up the things Feng Qingxiu had entrusted him to bring to Wang Zhenqiu, and said to Wang Zhenqiu, there is also Xiaoun, the son of a Jiang's comrade, named Zhao Xiaoun. There will be a train to the southeast in 3 days, so I will invite he came to stay with us for a few days. Call on, call on, call on everyone. Wang Zhenqiu asked Miao Fengqin to cook a lot of meals. Having said that, the appetites of the men are not small. Their meal is enough for Wang Zhenqiu and his wife to eat for several days. Guancheng and his 2 younger brothers consciously brought the steamed buns at home. They smiled under Wang Zhenqiu's displeased gaze and said, it's hot and the buns will go rancid if we put them down. You can't let us eat the steamed buns, right? Wang Zhenqiu then gave up. Miao Fengqin had the most enthusiastic attitude towards Zibao, and her eyes sparkled when she saw Zibao. Zibao, Zibao, can you stay with your aunt and grandma from now on? Miao Fengqin kept carrying fish meat for Zibao. The reason why he kept the black fish was because it has no spines. Zibao ate deliciously and said, "Uncle, you are so kind. I like to eat fish, but the army doesn't have it. In fact, it's not that there are none, but there are few." After living in the army for so long, he saw very few fish. Although there are a lot of fish and shrimps in Feng Qingxiu's space, there is no reason to take them out. The meat can be mixed with the meat you bought. You can only catch some fish and bring them back when you go on a mission in Luoyang or when your comrade goes on a mission. Zibao only with Fubao can you savor its taste. After hearing this, Miao Fengqin immediately said, "Eat more if you like." She turned around and asked Da Chun to catch fish secretly again. Wang Da Chun is not good at anything else, but he is good at catching fish. "Thank you, Auntie. My aunt is eating. If you don't eat, Zibao will eat it all." Zibao's bulging mouth did not delay him from saying sweet words, "Auntie, actually you are my favorite." Miao Fengqin fed Ziadozi a mouthful of fish, turned around and said with a smile, "Then you stay with your uncle and grandma." After everyone heard this, they were all waiting for Zibao's answer. Should he stay or not? Unexpectedly, Zibao said naturally, "Grandpa needs me, and he needs Zibao to accompany him." Everyone burst into laughter. Zibao is so smart, Zhao Ziaoun couldn't help but sigh. People often praise Zibao for being smart, which is really not a polite word, because he found that Zibao's mind turns very quickly and he is easy to please. Zhao Ziaoun's strokes are so good. All envious. Although Zhao Ziaoun is 10 years older than Zibao, his handwriting is called chicken claw style by his grandma, so you can imagine how bad it is. Miao Fengqin greeted Zhao Ziaoun, "You are the child of Comrade Zhang, and you are my own child. You are welcome, eat fish, eat fish." "Thank you, uncle and grandma," Zhao Ziaoun called after Zibao, making Miao Fengqin burst into joy. Zhao Ziaoun is not very handsome, but his facial features are pleasing. After eating and drinking, it was almost dark, and everyone went back to their homes. Father Lu asked Guancheng to take Zhao Ziaoun to have a good rest at home, while he took Zibao to visit the old people who had been sent down. When they saw Zibao, they all put down their jobs. Looking at the wild vegetable soup in the bowl and the wild vegetable steamed buns in the basket, Father Lu looked a little unhappy. "Didn't I tell you? There is a lot of grain hidden in the cellar under my cowshed. It is sealed tightly and is not damaged at all. I can take out a bag in 10.5 months and it will be enough for you. You don't have to be so frugal." Zibao was pulled to his side by Wen Ruyu. He looked into the bowl and said, "No meat. If it's not a festival, how can we eat meat?" Wen Ruyu laughed and said to Father Lu, "We old guys are not polite to you. How can we fool outsiders if we don't get wild vegetables? The local folks are still half a year old. We only have half a year's worth of food. If we don't show up among the army digging wild vegetables, wouldn't that arouse suspicion? Don't worry, we won't treat ourselves badly." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1226. Father Lu's expression brightened slightly after hearing Wen Ruyu's words. Zibao took a sip of the soup and wrinkled his face, "Bitter. This is a bitter vegetable. Your grandma Wen Yu didn't knead out the bitter juice. How can it not be bitter?" Wen Ruyu touched her pocket. After touching for a long time, she remembered that she was in the countryside and had not carried 2 pills with her for a long time. Bingtang was used to it. Zibao, how is your brother? Do the triplets look exactly the same? Aren't they cute? They already knew it from Guancheng, but they still wanted to hear Zibao say it. Zibao groaned, shook his head and said, Dun Dun is good, Xiong Xiong is bad, Zhuang Zhuang is little, Zhuang Zhuang is sick, and mother is also sick. After hearing this, everyone quickly asked what was going on. Father Lu told the truth in a few words. Zhuang Zhuang was born weak and sick, so his mother applied for discharge from the military. Now the family has hired a nanny, and she is taking care of Zhuang Zhuang wholeheartedly. It's good to be alive, it's good to be alive. If you are weak, be weak. Keep the nutrients close to him first. When you spoke first, with a trace of sadness in his eyes, we are all old men and women in our 60s and 70s. What kind of things have you never experienced? Just look away. Fortunately, King Xiu has good medical skills. Zhuang Zhuang, didn't the blind man say that King Xiu and Ajiang will be safe and sound? When he grows up, maybe he will be as strong as Zibao when he grows up. Zhu Ling shook his wife's hand and comforted her, knowing that she was thinking of her eldest son who did not live more than 3 days after birth. Father Lu said, Zhuang Zhuang looks like his mother, almost exactly the same. Jin Ruoku smiled while stroking his hands, that's good, that's called blessing. What's the old saying? A boy who follows his mother is blessed, and a girl who looks like her father is blessed. Being strong and like her mother, blessing lies behind. Zibao nodded, you are so lucky to be strong. My brother, I want to take him to play with me. Zibao is the most blessed and has extraordinary luck. His words will definitely come true. After listening to Jin Ruoku's words, Father Lu couldn't help but said, although everyone always says this, and I think so myself, sometimes I, like Ajiang Xiaoxiu, feel that it is outrageous. The relationship between God and Zibao is definitely not that good. If it's so good, why did my brother suffer such a disaster when he was born? You don't believe it? Look at me. Jin Ruoku wanted to roll up his sleeves, but found that he was wearing a torn sweatshirt for work today. He smiled awkwardly and lowered his head to tease Zibao. Zibao, do you think it will rain tomorrow? Raining? No, no, Zibao shook his head violently, I want to play. How can we play when it rains? Of course it won't rain. As expected, it didn't rain the next day. Zibao got up early as usual and did a set of punches first, then dragged Lu's father outside for a run. When he came back, he performed another set of punches in the bullpen, sweating profusely. The appearance immediately attracted Zhou Fengxue. Who taught you the boxing in the army, Zibao? Zhou Fengxue vaguely thought that it should be Lu Zhang. The Wanglu Brigade is truly a place of outstanding people. The children of the Lu family that I have met recently are all outstanding among men. Zibao asked Father Lu for his own towel to wipe his sweat, and said loudly, report to the leader, Dad taught me. I am no longer the leader, Xiao Zibao. Thinking of the current situation, Zhou Fengxue's eyes were slightly sad, and then said, you can just call me Grandpa Zhou. Don't call me the leader. If others hear it, we will be in trouble. Unlucky? Are you beating Zibao? Zibao asked. Seeing Zhou Fengxue nod heavily, Zibao immediately covered his mouth with the hand that was not holding the towel. I won't tell, I won't tell. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1227. Being nurtured by his parents for a long time, the smart Zibao has already understood what to say and what not to say. Zhou Fengxue stretched out her intact left arm and touched Zibao's head. Hey, my hair is a little long. Shave your head, Zibao blurted out. Father Lu smiled and said, I haven't forgotten that your parents said that you refused to shave your head when you were a child. Why do you take the initiative to shave your head now? Don't you think it doesn't look good? It's easy to wash, Zibao said plausibly, just wipe it with a wet towel and it'll be fine. Washing with shampoo always gets into the eyes, which is spicy. Okay, okay, I'll take you to the barber before the busy season. He has a lot of work point tickets in his hand. He needs to give the other party 3 work points to shave his head. While they were joking, Guancheng and Zhao Xiaoun came to deliver food to them. Seeing Zhou Fengxue, Zhao Xiaoun screamed and ran to him quickly, Grandpa Zhou, what's wrong with your arm? Xiaoun, Zhou Fengxue was also surprised when she saw Zhao Xiaoun. It's me, Grandpa Zhou, Zhao Xiaoun touched Zhou Fengxue's arm with the hand that wasn't carrying the rice basket. He felt so distressed that tears immediately fell down. What's wrong with your arm? It was clear that your arm was still there last year before Grandma and I returned to our hometown. Okay. Brother Aiken, did you say that Grandpa Zhou's arm was broken in the car? Guancheng did not answer him, but asked, do you know each other? Father Lu could confirm at this time that the person who arranged for Zhou Fengxue to come here might be Zhao Hanzi. There is no other person except Zhao Hanzi. Otherwise, why would a small place like Wanglu Brigade attract big shots? Zhou Fengxue borrowed Zibao's towel to wipe Zhao Xiaoun's tears. A man, if you bleed and don't shed tears, why are you crying? Aren't I doing well? I came here and was lucky enough to save my life. But you, didn't you go to the northwest from your hometown? Did you see your parents? Why are you here? Grandpa Lu Zibao and I took a bus to Huihei City, planning to transfer to the southeast in 3 days, Zhao Xiaoun said with tears in his eyes, looking at Zhou Fengxue's right arm. Grandpa Zhou, does it hurt? It must be very painful, right? Brother Aiken said it's serious. It doesn't hurt, the bullet didn't kill me, it's just an arm. Zhou Fengxue was very free and easy. It's nice to see you. Go back and tell your grandpa that everything is fine with me and tell him not to worry. Your grandfather fought hard to get me here. Although he doesn't say it, I know it in my heart. Zhao Xiaoun choked up and nodded. Grandpa Lu and Brother Aiken are both good people. Grandpa Zhou, you have to be good. When I am free, I will come to visit Brother Aiken and the others. Only in this way can I visit him, and I will give him a visit after I return. He sends things. Zhao Xiaoun has lived with his grandparents since he was a child. Because his parents had to go to the battlefield in the early days, the conditions were difficult and they could not take him with him, so he grew up in front of many old revolutionaries. Zhou Fengxue's wife died early and never remarried, and he had no children. He took in several orphans left behind by his martyred comrades, but he was always very kind to Zhao Xiaoun. After Zhao Xiaoun was a little older, Zhou Fengxue was transferred to another post and did not work with Zhao Hanzi. It was not until Zhao Hanzi was transferred to the southeast military region a few years ago that the two friends reunited and Zhao Xiaoun saw his favorite Grandpa Zhou again. However, Zhao Xiaoun never expected that something would happen to Grandpa Zhou just a year after he left. Thinking of this, his tears couldn't help but roll down again. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1228. Zhou Fengxue patted him on the shoulder. Okay, Xiaoun, you are a man, why did you become a little girl? Only little girls can cry delicately, and no matter how much you coax them, they can't be coaxed. Sister, Zibao suddenly thought of Fuebao. Father Lu touched the top of his grandson's head and said to Zhao Xiaoun, Xiaoun, help your grandfather Zhou into the house for dinner. The busy farming season is just around the corner. Our team has a lot of work. We won't be idle for a while. After dinner, you have to work, but if you don't eat, how can you have the strength to work? Can you work less? Zhao Xiaoun felt even more distressed when he heard that Zhou Fengxue had to work even though he was injured. If you don't work, people will be suspicious. There are people with bad intentions in the Wanglu Brigade. Guancheng thought of Wang Xinlei's family, which made everyone feel like they were in trouble. My uncle and grandpa often ask me to lead this group of elderly people to work. Don't worry, I will try my best to arrange some easy work for Grandpa Joe so that his injury will not worsen. After Zhao Xiaoyun heard this, he immediately bowed to Guancheng. Thank you, Brother Aiken. My greatest luck is meeting you. Brother, don't say any kind words, it's time to eat, hurry up and eat. Guancheng took out the baked scallion pancakes and a jar of dried sweet potato porridge. Zibao, it's time to eat, your favorite scallion pancakes. Thank you, Brother Aiken. After dinner, Wang Zhenqiu asked Guancheng to lead this group of old people to work. There were more than 20 old people, which was very spectacular. Although they are kind-hearted, their crimes are conclusive, and most men and women under middle age still avoid them for fear of getting into trouble, so they pull curious children away in a hurry. Zhao Xiaoyun felt particularly uncomfortable, his eye circles were very red, and he didn't dare to shed tears even as he followed behind. When you come to our place, just thank God in your heart, Lu Tianzi whispered, it's so scary outside. I went out for a walk and came back and realized that our Wanglu Brigade is a paradise. The past of being treated harshly when I was a child is long gone. Forgotten by him. What is a paradise? Zhao Xiaoyun asked. Lu Tianzi almost choked on his own saliva and glared, have you never read Tao Yuanming's The Peach Blossom Spring? Zhao Xiaoyun shook his head, I have only memorized the Kainyuan Chun fortune teller. Mr. Wuliu Tao Yuanming? Isn't that old culture? It no longer appears in textbooks. Okay, you can do it. It's like we haven't memorized it before. I still have this. Lu Tianzi took out a red notebook from his pocket, everyone has a copy. Do you have it? Zhao Xiaoyun's answer was to take out a copy from his pocket, and the version was exactly the same. Zhao Xiaoyun soon discovered that almost everyone in the Wanglu Brigade had the same red notebook. There must be someone who is illiterate, right? Zhao Xiaoyun pulled Lu Tianzi and asked. The answer was Guan Yu, you should say that apart from young people who have gone to school, there are not many literate old people except those from the Lu family. So what if they are literate or not? The passion for learning is the most important. After the new version is published, although the price was not high and most ordinary people could afford it, my uncle and aunt still asked my grandpa to buy a batch of them and give each person a copy. Even though it was not expensive, everyone remembered the favor when they accepted it calmly. In Feng Qingshu's words, the red book is a talisman. Using the quotations in it to refute others is particularly effective. The good thinking of their Wanglu Brigade is reflected in the red notebooks they have in hand. Even the illiterate old people can remember a few sentences by themselves after listening to others read them many times, and go out to show off with high spirits. Comparing myself with the production teams around me who were mostly illiterate and didn't have many red books, I instantly felt that I was very powerful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1229. Father Lu did not go to work, but took Zibao to visit Grandpa Lu San, bringing 2 cans of malted milk. Grandma Lu San was too old to walk. She was sitting on a wicker chair at the door of the hall to bask in the sun. She had a small blanket on her legs and a cane in her hand. She looked at the two of them for a long time with her presbyopic eyes and said, "Which of you are you, huh? Who are you looking for?" Grandpa Lu San can read and write, so Grandma Lu San is not illiterate either. Now that she is old and confused, regardless of the wind and rain outside, Grandma Lu San has regained her youthful tone of voice. Father Lu said loudly in front of her, "Yes, I am Ziwan, Lu Ziwan. This is my grandson, Zibao. When Ajiang and King Xio got married, you attended in person. Grandma Lu-san said, Xiaobao. Xiaobao. Whose family does Xiaobao belong to? From the Lu family, Zibao said loudly in her ear. Grandma Lu-san said, looking at you, I know you are from our Lu family, so why bother asking? Whose baby are you? Who gave birth to you? You look really good. Zibao thought for a moment and replied, he's from the Lu Zhang family. There are many people in the Lu family, but in Wangla Brigade, only his father is named Lu Zhang. When answering this question, Zibao did not forget to speak louder. Before Grandma Lu-san could remember who Lu Zhang was, Grandpa Lu-san walked out of the hall. He was trembling and looked like he had fallen. Father Lu quickly stepped forward to help him, but he had to sit with his wife. Together. There is a wicker chair next to Grandma Lu-san. After finally sitting down, Grandpa Lu-san couldn't wait to wave to Zibao, hey, my little Zibao, come here quickly and let me see if my great-grandfather has grown taller after not seeing you for a year. Zibao came up to him and said with a smile, Grandpa, I have grown taller again. Our Zibao will definitely grow up to be taller than your father, Grandpa Lu-san smiled with a smile on his face. Hearing his wife keep asking whose family the baby was from, he said angrily, I'm telling you. I've said it 100 times, Zibao, it's Zibao, from the Lu Zhang family, from the Lu Ziwen family, from the Lu Ziwen family, did you hear it? The sound was loud and sounded fierce, but Zibao, who was startled at first, saw Grandpa Lu-san pulling the blanket that had slipped from Grandma Lu-san's legs and almost fell to the ground. Grandma Lu-san muttered, oh, it's from our family. Father Lu smiled and said, they are from our family, they both have the same surname of Lu, and the same Lu means they are one family, right? Grandpa Lu-san was very happy to hear this and touched Zibao's face, Ziwen, Zibao won't leave when he comes back, right? I told you a long time ago that Zibao is a lucky star. You must not believe it. You tasted the bitterness after the autumn last year. There are a few more people, and the rations are almost not enough. Look how good the weather is when Zibao comes back. The wheat will be harvested at the end of the month or at the beginning of June. It would be bad if it doesn't rain in the past 2 days. We won't be able to run the field, so we have to splash it with water, Lu's father said. Grandpa Lu-san was unhappy. He lowered his head and asked Zibao, Zibao, do you think it will rain recently? Why is this problem again? But the meaning seems to be a little different. Zibao poked Grandpa Lu-san's cigarette pouch hanging on his crutch and watched it swinging in the air. Come on, come on. Everyone asked him if it would rain. Do they all want it to rain? Then wait until he is tired from playing before playing again. Well, Zibao said it will rain, and it will definitely rain. But Zibao, let's just have a rain. Once it rains, we don't need to water the field. If it rains non-stop, how can we harvest the wheat? Wait. After harvesting the wheat, it's time to plant next season's crops. Let's ask God to provide some rain to irrigate the land, don't you think so? Yes, Zibao's voice was so loud that Grandma Lu-san heard it. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1230. Father Lu really didn't take the joke between the old and the young seriously, so he took the time to teach Zibao when he was not at his busiest. Zibao is talented and smart, and he knows everything at once. Not to mention Father Lu, after a day or two, after he showed his skills in public, even the old men wanted to teach him a few skills. Besides working every day, they had already it so itchy. At this time, a heavy rain came just in time. The heavy rain made it impossible to go to work. The old men and old women who were not used to farm work cheered and the excitement started. Come on, Zibao, I'll teach you how to draw. When Ruya was the oldest and did her job. When you refused to give in, Zibeo, didn't you say you wanted to hear a story? I'll tell you a story. Jinruoku said unhappily, go, 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 let's all go together. I heard Akin say that Zibeo has been practicing calligraphy very early, and the calligraphy is very good. Of course he practiced calligraphy with me. The calligraphy is like a person's face, the words are beautiful and the face is beautiful. It's as if I'm not good at calligraphy and painting, Wenryu muttered. Uncle Su and Aunt Su hesitated for a moment and said, actually, we think Zibeo should learn some foreign languages. When it comes to foreign languages, Wenryu stepped forward and said, when it comes to foreign languages, of course it's me. There is no language that I am not proficient in, including Russian, English, French, Japanese and German. The title of translator is not in vain. Wenryu is a very famous writer and translator, and everyone here knows it. Zibeo should learn calligraphy and painting. Wang Mo and Hekingian are Wenryu's apprentices, and of course they fully support their teacher. Zibeo, look at the bamboo dragonfly I made for you. Zuling, known as a master of craftsmanship, spoke, and sure enough, Zibeo's attention was caught. Before he finished writing, he saw the bamboo dragonfly for the first time. He really wanted to play with it. Zibeo swallowed his saliva and remembered what his mother usually said. He raised his face and said to Father Lu, Grandpa, hold it for me while I write. Let me play when you're done. Once he gets it, it's his, and he can play with it whenever he wants. Wenryu couldn't help but said, what a boy. After half a month of teaching, of course, it was only at night. Everyone worked during the day and taught Zibeo at night. After a lot of bickering, they focused on calligraphy, painting, and poetry, supplemented by other aspects. The time was set at about 2 hours. If there was more, Zibeo would not be able to bear the load. Everyone took turns being the teacher. But because Wenryu is good at calligraphy and painting, Zibeo is used to practicing calligraphy, so he has classes every day. Everyone was originally worried that Zibeo was young, could not sit still, and would soon stop learning, but the result was beyond their expectations. Zibeo is more studious than they thought. He is curious and interested in everything. He has to ask questions to the end. Although many times he leaves everyone speechless, especially about physics and chemistry, but everyone is happy. Highly talented and patient, he is like a piece of rough jade. If you don't polish it, you will be short of God's gift. Before everyone could suggest to Lu's father that Zibeo should be left at home, Zibeo took the initiative to express his request after their busy farm work was over. Grandpa, can I study with my grandparents every day? He was having fun every day. Father Lu was stunned, of course. He cares about his grandson's education more than anyone else. Where can the resources of the Border Defense Force be as good as here? There are about 20 masters from all walks of life in front of them, Taishan Baidu, and they usually teach Zibeo a little bit, which is enough for the child to benefit from them throughout his life. In addition, Grandpa Lu San and Mr. and Mrs. Wang Zhenqiu both requested that Zibeo be kept at home. This year's summer harvest was particularly smooth. It was the same as last year, except that the output was slightly reduced. Grandpa Lu San and Wang Zhenqiu agreed that Zibeo arrived late and the crops did not grow well before he arrived. Autumn planting has never encountered any time when God does not favor it. The weather is favorable, the seedlings are growing upward, and the ground is full of green.